Hello folks, how's it going? This is Fred Levi. I'm coming back at you guys, give you guys another lesson. Today our topic is going to be the FICO score, how it really works, and to show you how to discover how you can take control of the 5 different aspects of your FICO credit score. So let's go ahead and get started. Who is FICO? FICO is a business analytics software company. They're based out of San Jose, California, and they were founded by Bill Fair and Earl Isaac in 1956. Their FICO score has become the main credit score used to determine consumer credit risk. FICO was founded in 1956 as Fair, Isaac and Company. William Fair was one of the original founders. He was an engineer. And Earl Isaac was the other founder. He was a mathematician. The two met while working at a Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, California. And in 1958, they pitched their first credit risk analysis system to 50 American lenders. They went public in 1986 and they're traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol FICO. The company debuted its first general-purpose FICO score in 1989, and their scores are based on credit reports, and they range from 300 to 850. Lenders use these scores to gauge a potential borrower's credit worthiness. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac first began using FICO scores to help determine which American consumers qualified for mortgages bought and sold by companies in 1995. Originally called Fair Isaac and Company, the name was changed to Fair Isaac Corporation in 2003. They rebranded again in 2009, and they're now called FICO, making their name the same as their signature FICO score they offer. Originally, they were based in San Rafael, California, and then they moved back to San Jose, California in 2013. They're the most widely used credit score, and the FICO score is a mathematical algorithm that is used to depict a consumer's risk of going 90 days late on an account within the next 24 months. Lenders use the FICO score to help them make billions, that's billions with a B, folks, of credit decisions every year. FICO calculates the FICO score based solely on information in consumer credit reports maintained at the credit reporting agencies. The FICO score is calculated by a mathematical equation that evaluates many types of information from your credit report at the credit reporting agency. By comparing this information to the patterns in hundreds of thousands of credit reports, the FICO score estimates your level of future credit risk. You have 3 FICO scores, one for each of the 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And each FICO score is based on information the credit bureau keeps on file about you. Your credit score may be different at each of the main credit reporting agencies. If your current scores from the credit reporting agencies are different, it's probably because the information those agencies have on you differs. For your FICO score to be calculated, your credit report with the bureau from which you want your score must contain enough information and enough recent information on which you to base your credit score. Generally, that means you must have at least one account that has been open for 6 months or longer, and at least one account that has been reported to the credit reporting agency within the last 6 months. So you have different types of scores, credit scores and scorecards. There are many different credit scores out there. There are credit scores consumers can pull themselves through credit monitoring, mortgage scores, auto scores, and many more. There are actually over 16 different score cards that exist today with FICO alone. And each of these scorecards will reflect different credit scores. These scorecards are designed to help particular industries better gauge credit risk. The mortgage industry, for example, is more concerned with consumers' past mortgage history than anything else. So they weigh home loans history heavier into the total score calculation than other accounts. A consumer's credit monitoring score might be 660, but when they apply for a mortgage, their score might be much lower due to some negative mortgage accounts on the report. The mortgage score might even be higher than their consumer score if they have past positive mortgage accounts. The credit score that a consumer pulls themselves will not be the same as their mortgage industry option score, the scores lenders and brokers use to access mortgage default risk. Their mortgage score won't be the same as their auto score that car dealers pull either, which is also known as the auto industry option score, because the auto score weighs past auto history heavier into the score makeup versus consumer scores. These different credit scorecards are designed to help specific industries better determine risk. And due to there being so many industries that offer credit, there are also just as many credit scores available. Plus, different scores are offered by different companies, creating even more credit scores. FICO is the biggest provider of consumer credit scores. But now even the credit bureaus themselves are in the credit scoring game, providing their Vantage score. Vantage score was unveiled by the three bureaus in March 2006. All three main credit reporting agencies use the same formula to calculate the Vantage score. Vantage score has scores as high as 990, while FICO scores can only be as high as 850. So even though a 700 FICO score reflects good consumer credit, a 700 Vantage score reflects below average personal credit. Obviously, scores going up to 990 versus FICO scores going up to 850 have created an issue with the lenders. This is one of the main reasons that Vantage score hasn't become widely accepted. So the bureaus have now changed their score range with Vantage Score 3.0, which was released in 2013. With the new Vantage score, scores only go as high as 850, mimicking the FICO top score. So how are scores calculated? In this slide right here, you see the differences between the Vantage score, which is based on 6 variables, and FICO, which only uses 5. So as you can see, just press pause so you can go ahead and look at the comparison between Vantage and FICO. You can see the differences in the way their 100% is made up. Fair Isaac and Vantage score hold their credit scoring formulas as close secret, much like the formula for Coca-Cola or your grandma's legendary double chocolate chip cookies. This can be very frustrating for consumers when they see remarks on their credit report like too many revolving debt accounts and not knowing exactly what that means. Fortunately, Fair Isaac and Vantage score have issued some public information about how they calculate credit scores. Payment history. The top-rated factor for both models is payment history. This is because lenders want to know a person's payment history, past and present. This category can be broken down into 3 subcategories. Recency. This is the last time a payment was late. The more time that passes, the better. Frequency. One late payment looks a whole lot better than it doesn't. And severity. A payment 30 days late is not as serious as a payment 60 or even 120 days late. Collections, tax liens, foreclosures, repossessions, charge-offs, and bankruptcies are all credit score killers. You can improve this aspect of your score by paying your bills on time. Also, the more accounts you have paid as agreed to offset the ones you don't have will also help your score. So if you do have late payments reporting on your credit, you can offset these by adding new positive accounts and making sure you have a lot of accounts that are paying as agreed to offset the accounts that are not paid as agreed. How much is owed? The score looks at the total amount owed on all accounts as well as how much you owe on different types of accounts such as mortgages and auto loans. Using a higher percentage of the credit limits will worry lenders and hurt your credit score. People who max out their limits have a greater risk of default. Utilization. When it comes to revolving debt credit cards, the formula looks at the difference between high limits and balances. For example, let's say you have a MasterCard with a credit limit of $10,000 and have spent $2,000 of it. That's a 20% utilization ratio. The lower the ratio, the higher the credit score. So if you're looking for a quick credit score boost, pay down any accounts that you can. With FICO, 30% of your credit score is based on utilization, while 35% is based on payment history. Utilization is the second highest weighted aspect of your credit score. This means if you're overutilizing your revolving accounts, you can damage your score as much as if you were paying your payments late each month. Anything over 30% of your limit being used will lower your credit scores. Adding credit cards to your report with high limits can also significantly and quickly raise your scores, sometimes as much as 100 points or more. One more little tidbit, which is very important. Closed accounts do not help, and they can hurt if there's a balance remaining. A long perpetual myth has been to close accounts that are not in use, but this will hurt consumers in several ways. As you now know, overall and individual account utilization plays a major role in credit scoring. If consumers close old accounts, your overall utilization rate will increase, which will cause their scores to decrease. Length of credit history and the depth of credit. This is less important than the previous factors, but it still matters. It considers 1, the age of the oldest account, and 2, the average age of all your accounts. It is possible to have a good score with a short history, but typically the longer the better. Young people, students, and others can still have high credit scores as long as the other factors are positive. With FICO, this is the third largest aspect of your credit score calculation. If a person is new to credit, then there is little they can do to improve a credit score. No newly added accounts can be backdated to improve this score aspect. You can get added as an authorized user to a family member's account that has been in long standing, and that can improve this aspect of your credit score. Average age of accounts is another important reason to keep all accounts open. If a consumer has multiple accounts that they've had for some time but don't use, they are still benefiting from the average age of the accounts open in their credit file. Also, make sure that you use each of the accounts at least once every 6 months. Credit issuers must reserve the money offered in credit limits for their clients' use, so they don't like having accounts sitting dormant that are not making them money. If an account sits dormant for a long enough time, many creditors nowadays will cancel the account due to inactivity. Additionally, credit reporting agencies will calculate an account as inactive if there has not been any activity in the most recent 6-month period of time. An inactive account does not benefit your score as much as an active account. The model looks for rate shopping. Shopping for a mortgage or an auto loan may cause multiple lenders to request your credit report many times each, even though a person is only looking for one loan. Auto dealers are notorious for running 3 to 15 credit reports. It's called shotgunning the credit. For most people, a credit inquiry really won't have an impact on your credit score. Large numbers of inquiries mean greater risk. According to myfico.com, people with 6 inquiries or more on their credit reports are 8 times more likely to declare bankruptcy than people with no inquiries on their reports. Types of credit you use and the depth of credit. Both models want to see a healthy mix of credit, but they're very vague on what it means. They recommend you have a balance of both revolving debts like credit cards and installment loans like auto loans or a mortgage. The preferred number of credit cards reporting is 3. You shouldn't have more than 2 mortgages reporting and no more than 2 auto loans, as that's considered too much. Installment loans also score better if you have 2 or less. So here again is how your FICO scores break down. 35% of your score is based on payment history. 30% of your score is based on utilization. 15% of your score is based on length of credit history. 10% is based on new credit or inquiries. And the final 10% is based on your credit mix. So how do you rate? Are you excellent with a 750 plus? Do you have good credit of 700 to 749? Fair credit, which is 650 to 699. Poor credit, which is 600 to 649. Or bad credit, which is anything below 599. Well, that was our subject for today, which is your FICO score, how it really works, and how you can manipulate the score to try to help increase your points on that score. If you're looking at trying to get into the industry of credit repair, or if you're looking at just trying to fix your own credit and want a simple do-it-yourself kit, please log on to the website www.startingcreditrepair.com. You can go ahead and go on there to learn more. There's information in regards to what comes with each program. A lot of people are taking advantage of this, and I think it's time for you to take advantage as well. Make 2016 your guys' year to go ahead and get your credit scores to where they need to be. Again, my name is Fred Levi, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. And I do want to go ahead and state that website one more time. It's www.startingcreditrepair.com. You folks have a great day, and I will be back with you guys again.